2, 1. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on the Spotlight Sports Network. We've reached the statistical halfway point of summer. It's July 15th. It's everybody's favorite day of the week. It's Parlay Friday. I'm Steve Armato, joined by Anthony Saccone, and today we are joined by Gordon Damer of ESPN New York. Gordon is a seasoned veteran in the New York sports radio space, and the two main things he has in common with everyone on today's show is that he hates the Jets and he loves surf and turf. So, Gordon, welcome to the show.
Guys, what's going on? How's everybody? All right?
We're doing great, man.
I like seasoned veteran. That's a nice way to say old. He's an old guy.
I told you this. You're not old. You're on TikTok. So
yeah, trust me. The TikTok is a nice thing to say, but the age is still. You look at the age; it's still the same age. So it's the same year that you were born. So it is what it is.
I get it. I understand that.
Right.
I do. Before we get started, though, I do have a small bone to pick with you.
All right.
You're born in Queens,
right?
Raised on Long Island.
Yep.
How'd you become a Yankee fan?
Great. People ask me that a lot, but I don't know if it's my Scottish upbringing where you're just oppositional from jump. I don't know if it's just I like to play devil's advocate, but my father was a Mets fan and a Jets fan. So I automatically became the opposite of that. Now, Yankees has worked out great. Dolphins, not so much. So I picked one good team out of the bunch. So, that's how I became a Yankee fan.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
I wish we could get like Gordon and my dad in the room together. My dad's also a diehard Dolphins fan and a Yankees fan.
Oh my God, poor guy.
The doorknobs in my basement. Wait, so right behind me, as you guys can see, Dan Marino. So
yeah,
quick backstory: my dad he got mad one day. It was Dolphins Patriots. I was like 5 years old. Puts his fist right through this door. We had to cover it up because there was a hole. So now it's a nice Dan Marino sign. You got to make it look good.
Right.
So,
hey. Yeah, that's a good cut. He is not the first person to come up with that cover. I can tell you right now, I have patented that move. Not so much in this room, but in other rooms that I have lived in. Yes, that has been. At this point, I'm just like like I always say, like rooting for the Dolphins. At this point is like rooting for Wile E. Coyote. Like it's going to go bad, just like how is it going to go bad this time?
That's amazing. And I know you got a question right here that we put together.
Yes, definitely. So sticking with the Yankees. And so, Gordon, what was it like getting into and, being started in the New York sports radio back in the late 90s when the Yankees were just starting their dynasty with the core four, Jeter, and that just the whole dynasty itself?
Well, look, when I was growing up, I went to high school, 85 to 88, that range where it was a Mets town. So I was kind of resigned to, and this is the only thing that kind of leaves me any hope for the Dolphins, is I was resigned to Yankees. Back then, it was like the Yankees would never make the playoffs. Even when they had good teams, they would never make the playoffs. So when we got to like the 90s and then 94, obviously they had a really good team, and then the strike came, and then 95 they lose the Mariners the way they lost the Mariners. I just kind of assumed, maybe at some point it will happen. It seemed like things were going in the right direction, but even then I was not holding out hope that, and certainly not like any dynasty or like they're going to win every single year for a period of years. But I mean, like it was amazing because like my first actual night on the air was Game 6 of the '96 World Series. So I'll always remember exactly, like when I started, what I was doing when the Yankees won, when I finally broke through. Now, like I was alive in '78 and '77, but I don't really remember '77 and '78 that well. Those weren't my teams. I remember '81 better than that. So to be coming up and get my start when the Yankees were just about to go on this run was amazing, obviously.
So let's stay on the New York baseball topic for a second. Yankees, sure. Yankees are the best team in baseball. Mets are hanging on to first in the NL East. What type? I think the Mets more than the Yankees, but what types of additions, if any, do you think they could use at the deadline?
I'll be honest with you. Yankees should be swinging big, man. They should be, they've held on to prospects and they've done a good job. I mean, when I hate to be like the old head, but like when I was a kid, there was it was a well-known thing where the Yankees would give up their best prospects for guys who were over the hill. And Cashman's done a very good job with that. You wouldn't really think of that many prospects that the Yankees have given away in trades that have come back, and you'd be like, oh man, the Yankees really could use that guy. But they should be swinging for the fences. There was a good article by, I think it was Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic this week, like 98, Yankees are steamrolling like they're steamrolling this year. And yet, when Randy Johnson was available, the Yankees were looking to make a deal to bring in Randy Johnson. So I don't know that there's anybody of that ilk out there this year. We'll see as we get closer to the trade deadline. But, Luis Castillo last night, I mean, that's a perfect example. The Yankees could certainly need a number 2 starter. They certainly need another bat in that lineup at the end of the order, and they should be looking to upgrade. Now, the thing in the rotation, I don't know who's going to become available, but that's always kind of been like as good as the Yankee rotation has been, and as nice as Nestor Cortez has been or Tyone. I don't know that you see those guys starting playoff games and you feel comfortable starting with them. Now, the Yankees are much more back engineered where the bullpen is the strength of their team. And a lot of times they're just looking to get 5 innings out of the starter so that they can roll to the bullpen. But yeah, bullpen is definitely a piece they should be looking to add. They should obviously be looking for a replacement for Joey Gallo, which I would expect that they're going to do that. I'd be stunned if Joey Gallo was on this team come, August 3rd or whatever the trade deadline is. So those are 2 pieces right there. But I mean, I think that they've kind of left themselves open where they can kind of make a big move in a variety of areas. Like if there's a shortstop that becomes available, I'm not opposed to be. Now, I don't think that they're going to do that, but that's kind of the mindset that I want to see them taking a big swing. You've had these prospects. You've held on to prospects for a very long time. There's no prospect who is so valuable that they should not be on the table for the right deal.
So I'm going to go off topic for a quick second.
Sure.
From the show rundown here. Speaking of that, I know everybody loves, just staying on the Yankees real quick, I know everybody loves, Trevino, but what if a guy like Wilson Contreras becomes available and you have prospects? I think Wilson Contreras is available at this point for the Cubs, but would that be a guy that the Yankees you would want?
I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, but I realize that there's other things at play. So if you take Trevino out, okay, maybe you improve on the bat. But Trevino is a guy who's been working with the pitching. You know what I mean? And the pitching has been solid. So of the things that – look, Trevino's been really good. He's going to be an all-star, right? So I would be surprised if they would go that route. I'd be surprised if they went shortstop. I'd be surprised if they look to improve on Donaldson at third base. But in a perfect world, is that a possibility? Yeah, I don't think that you can rule anything out, but I would put that, like, if I was to rank it, I'd put that at the lower end of the possibilities.
Absolutely.
So, and then staying with the Yankees and going into sports betting just a little bit here. So now, looking at AL MVP odds. So Ohtani has now jumped Judge. So Ohtani's the favorite at plus 110. He has been just dealing on the mound lately. He's been hitting like we've seen him do a year ago. Judge is now plus 165. Who right now, in your opinion, do you think is the best in the front runner for American League MVP?
Well, look, as a Yankee fan, obviously I'm biased. I think Judge has been sensational. I just know from, being an old, as my kids tell me, that unless there's a Yankee who it's clear cut, you really cannot in any good conscience vote for anybody else, they're not going to win that award. So I would be very surprised if Judge ends up winning the award. Now, look, he could have, he could drop off, he could get hurt. Maybe at the end of the season he doesn't deserve the award. But I would be very, very surprised if Aaron Judge ends up winning the MVP because, look, 2017, take a look at the stats. He had a far better season than Jose Altuve, but yet Altuve won the award. It was almost like, well, we'll give Judge the rookie of the year so he has something. But he was the MVP then as well. He deserved it then. He didn't get it. So I would be very surprised if he I don't know how much better he could be than he was in 2017. So I would be surprised if he won it this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, is there like a more like piss poor run organization in sports than the Angels? They have 2 generational talents and they can't build around it. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's what, look, Ohtani's great. And he almost kind of goes into a season with an advantage because he does 2 things, right? He does them excellent. So it's almost like when Jordan was playing, like every year Jordan played, he was the MVP. They might have given it to somebody else, but he was the MVP. So if Ohtani's going to pitch like a Cy Young caliber pitcher and hit like an MVP, he's the MVP. He almost can't. But to me, MVP does kind of matter in terms of how your team played. They're on their 4th manager. Their season imploded in a 2.5-week stretch. I don't know what Ohtani's numbers were then, but he didn't help him out that much. So, the Angels, I mean, it is amazing. And it's almost like a cautionary tale for the Mets, and all the Met fans will tell me about Steve Cohen, he's going to spend money. Artie Moreno spends money. He just does it in a terrible way, and they've had no real success there outside of that one World Series. So,
absolutely. Got a couple comments here. What's going on? Hey, what's up, Key? We're live, so we got comments rolling in.
all right.
Here we go. Gordon. All right, we got this one. Final question before we move on to some betting stuff.
Okay.
What advice would you have for a young person that's trying to break into the radio space in 2022?
Well, I would tell you don't break into the radio space. That would be the first thing. Look, radio, I think it will always kind of have its place, but, I think that there's better technologies now to be invested in. And I teach a course at Montclair State, and I tell those kids, like when I was starting out, you had to go to a studio. You had to use a microphone in the studio. You had to cut tape. You had to do all these things that you would use in the studio. Now, you have the studio. The studio is your phone. Everything is on your phone. And if you want to get into this industry, you have the ability to improve on your own time. It's almost like a personal gym that you have in your pocket. You have the ability to talk into that camera, get used to talking to the camera. You don't have to post it, just do it for a month. Do it every day for 20 minutes. Read on camera so that you get comfortable reading on camera and it seems like you're just talking off the cuff, speaking, off the top of your head. That's one thing that I would say immediately start doing. And then as you get more and keep those tapes, like look at the first one you did at the end of the month and look at how much better you've gotten in that time. So that would be the first thing I would tell kids. And then the second thing is I would tell them, if you want to get into anything at this point, I almost feel like you have to bring something with you. Like you have to build your audience before you go get the job. And show them, well, look, I've already done this on my own. I don't really need you per se. Like I'm doing okay on my own. And then that kind of like when you don't need it, that's a better chance that you'll get it. So I would say those two things: work on your own, build your own kind of brand, what you're going to be, and then work on it on your free time. And it's really kind of up to you what you make it.
That's awesome advice. I hope my co-host here was paying attention to that one. So,
well, like this is the type of thing, like if I were 20, 21 years old right now and just starting out, this is the type of thing that I think that I would try to be doing, like build my own like platform and see where that goes and take that as far as it goes. And then if you, like the model to me is like John Boy, you know what I mean? Like take something that you're doing every day anyway. You love sports, you do it in now look, those guys have had unbelievable success. I don't know if that's attainable for everybody. But I would say that's the kind of the blueprint. That to me, that's the American dream, right? Like to figure out something that you're doing every day on your own that you'd be doing anyway, and figuring out a way to get paid for it.
Absolutely, that's fantastic advice. And now, since this is a betting show,
okay,
we got to get into some best bets a little bit.
Okay,
here for today, you're our guest of honor. So it could be baseball, could be anything for this weekend. Have you seen anything that you like want to, happiness hedge against for today or the weekend?
Well, I didn't know that you had that term. Yeah, that's a big one that I'm a big fan of. So I will always bet things that I don't want to see happen. So like I'm big, I have a big outlay right now, Jets over 5.5 like that. I know that everybody is on that for the football season. To me, there's no way the Jets cannot win 6 games this year. If they don't win 6 games this year, that's a disaster. Like that's like we have to go back to ground zero again and start all over. I mean, you can't go from 2 wins to 4 wins to 5 wins. That will tell you almost certainly that the quarterback is not the right quarterback. And if you don't have the quarterback after all you've done, that's a huge miss. So that's one that I'm kind of invested in right now. I don't know, for the weekend, Yankees, Red Sox. I mean, that would probably not be a series that I would look at all that much. I do feel like the Yankees right now, I don't know what the prices are, but if they were to lose the first game against Boston, then that might be a time where I might, because the Yankees are always, like
they're heavily,
you can't really make any money on betting on them.
They're heavily favored tonight. They're minus 188, I think, at home.
Yeah. See, like there's not. So like, what are the Red Sox tonight? I might just throw a couple bucks on the Red Sox just to be wrong.
Plus 158.
Yeah, I mean that's a good price on a Red Sox team that's playing, pretty good baseball. And anytime the Yankees and Red Sox play, it always feels like it kind of comes down to like the 7th, 8th, 9th inning anyway. So that might be one I will take.
Absolutely. And they hit lefties, and Montgomery's on the mound, although he's been good.
Right.
But, you could look at some, like, there's just areas to look for some value
Sure.
that you can grab there. Anthony, what were you saying?
No, so of course, Evaldi's coming back tonight because he owns the Yankees.
Right.
He's
Right. Strike out
just
9 guys. Yep. Absolutely.
he's going to come out with vengeance. Exactly.
I do have a bet in that game. It's actually my best bet, but I'll let Anthony go first if you'd
Okay.
like. Here. What do you got?
For best bet, I can't say I'm like in love with this pick, but there's solid value on it. So that's why I'm taking it just for the best bet. San Francisco Giants on the money line tonight against Milwaukee Brewers. It's Alex Wood taking on Brandon Woodruff. Woodruff, he hasn't been as good as advertised this year. He's got a +4 ERA at 4.01. And the Giants, they're just a team they're just one of those pesky teams. They stay in games. They make a lot of late game substitutions. They're always in it. They're always around. They battled against Corbin Burns last night. I mean, Burns did own them for the most part, but they were in that game, lost in extras last night. So just based on value, +115. We love home underdogs. So San Francisco Giants out west against the Brewers tonight. A little value on them at +115.
Yeah, Woodruff's just coming off an injury not that long ago, so I don't know how he's pitched. I think he's pitched okay since he's got off the IL, but yeah, I mean, he's not had the season they had a year ago.
No, definitely not. And then I'm gonna jump to back to Yankees Red Sox. So I got my best bet. I got Aaron Judge 2+ total bases tonight. It's at -105.
Okay.
So he's got 23 career at bats against Evaldi. He's got 9 hits, 2 doubles, and a home run. So that's a 391 average and a 1025 OPS. At -105, there's just no reason not to take this. Like, we could hit this with a first at bat double. So we're going to get off to a hot start with this because I didn't love the board as a whole today. I went through all the games. This just seems like if I could get -105 on Judge, you can make a little 2+ total bases here. It's 2 singles, it's a double, whatever. I'm not doing the home run prop. That's just way too much.
Right.
But
yeah.
Also,
what's Joey Gallo for a couple of?
Let's take a look. Let's do this right now.
You get like $1 billion if he hit that.
Let me
4.5 strikeouts. Or
I saw your tweet yesterday that you retweeted or you quote tweeted about his 080 in his last however many at bats.
I think he was 4 for his last 50, and then he walked in his last at bat. I mean, like even 4 hits in his last 50 at bat seems high. Like it doesn't even feel like it. It feels like it's been 0 for 50. It really does.
It's bad. I mean, it's bad. Is there a point where, like, what do they do? Is there a point where you have to put somebody else in the lineup? No.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Matt Carpenter's playing the outfield, right? Like, I would think that at some point, like, if they do not trade for a bat, which I would be stunned that they didn't trade for an outfielder. I mean, I know, and Duhar apparently has been hot down in the minors, so maybe that's an avenue they go. There's no way. Like, Brian Cashman does some questionable things at times. There's no possible way that Joey Gallo is on this team after the trade deadline. And if he is, he just won't play. You can't play him. I mean,
no.
And I get that, like, they probably look at it, he's 28, he's in his prime, he's better than this. He's never been the player for us that he was for Texas, but there's only so much road you can have before you have to get off the road.
And you know how bad he is? FanDuel doesn't even have a number on him to get a hit or hit a home run. He's not even listed.
Wow.
Because it would probably cost FanDuel way too much money. That is unbelievable.
It's kind of there was a stretch where he was like plus like 125 or something like that just to get a hit, and it was like, it's just so it's like so tempting.
Right? Yeah, it's like he has to get a hit tonight.
Right. Eventually he's got to get a hit, right?
The sabermetric people are just like, oh, his expected batting average is through the roof. Right. It's like his real batting average, it doesn't exist. I don't know.
And I don't know what his what like his analytic stats are, but even when he does like hit the ball, it doesn't seem like he ever hits the ball hard outside of maybe like a foul ball.
Right.
Like it's not like he's hitting it, like Stanton will have stretches where he's not getting any hits, but he's like hitting rockets and they just happen to be right at guys, or it's just hitting in bad luck. It doesn't really feel like Gallo's even close.
No, agreed. He might just end up being one of those guys that can't play in New York. I think that's pretty. I'll be honest with you. We were talking on the show last night. I don't think that there's been a guy who has gotten this many at bats who's been this bad. I think he might be the worst Yankee in terms of what you expect. Like, there's been guys who have just been as bad as him, but you didn't really expect them to be any better than that. I think he's been the worst Yankee that I've seen in my lifetime. Yeah, that is
a pretty good, you know what I mean? Like, and taking into account who he is supposed to be. He's not like some prospect just called up or some scrub who's just, a defensive guy. Yeah, he might be the worst guy.
Yeah, he was supposed to be an all-star, and this is just not
Oof,
a thing.
Yikes!
But
no.
But now we have some fun here. It's Parlay Friday, obviously. So now's the parlay segment of the show. This is up to you. If you want to participate, throw a little parlay together. We usually give it some kind of stupid name, but you don't have to do that if you don't want. If you don't want to, but if you want to throw a little parlay, it could be anything. You could like parlay your Jets over with like the Yankees tonight or whatever it is. I'll calculate the odds for you right now if you want. But let's have some fun. If you want to put something together here, and we're pretty good at giving it a stupid name too.
Who's the Met? Yeah, I did like basically no research here. So who's the Met starter tonight?
Ty Walker is going. They're playing at 2:30.
Okay. So is that off the board? We don't want to because it's 2:30. It's an afternoon.
Oh no, it's on the board. You could do that.
All right. I like Taijuan Walker strikeouts.
Okay.
I like a Met win. And this is like the opposite of a happiness hedge. Or actually, it's the perfect. If Mets lose, I'm happy. I would do Walker strikeouts, Mets win, and then I'd probably do something with Lindor because it seems like Lindor has been hot. Maybe a couple of hits for Lindor, a strikeout total for maybe 8-9 strikeouts for Walker, and then a Mets win as well. I'd put that together
Let's see what we got here. I got Lindor 2+ hits.
Okay.
Wow. So I got Lindor 2+ hits, Mets money line. And Walker over 4.5 strikeouts. It's +5. That's +586.
Boom.
That's it.
I mean, that's free money. I'm just giving you money. I'm just handing money out on the side.
Handing money. We're gonna call it, and just for you, in honor of you being here today, we're calling that the happiness hedge parlay. There you go. The Mets same gamer. This is perfect. See, look, like doing this on the fly is actually a ton of fun. I love this.
There you go. All right.
Anthony, what are you looking at today? I know you have one that just is the squarest play of the day, but go ahead. Good deal.
All right. So it was my birthday yesterday, so I'm calling it the Tony Levin's birthday hangover parlay. Get these odds at +425. Staying with the Mets game. We got a lot of Yankee fans on the Mets today. I'm going Mets money line. That's the first bet. So, I mean, Mets at Wrigley playing Marcus Stroman. I think the Mets are going to come out and just pound him because the comments he made about the Mets after he left and went to the Cubs in the offseason. I mean, I think the Mets are going to be itching to face Marcus Stroman. Then here's the square bet Steve previously mentioned. Blue Jays -1.5. The entire Royals team is not going to Toronto because of COVID restrictions. So they're all out. And Alek Manoah is on the mound. So you get their ace on the mound who's got a 2.34 ERA and a .98 whip. I mean, to me, that's a bet that you just have to take when you're building a parlay together. And then lastly, we got Sandy Alcantara on the mound. So we're going Marlins first 5 against the Phillies. I know Steve doesn't like this pick, but Alcantara is going to start the All-Star game. He is red hot right now. The Marlins just got to score like maybe 2 runs in the first 5 innings because he's not going to give one up to this Phillies lineup with no Harper. So that's what we're going. Mets money line, Marlins first 5, and Blue Jays -1.5, +425. Tony Levin's birthday hangover parlay.
Wow. I hate you with that Marlins pick. I just have to say it. But I'll get into it. I mean, so the thing is, the Royals don't have anybody coming to Toronto today. They're filling it with double and triple A guys. I think the money line for the Blue Jays is the heaviest favorite I've ever seen on a Major League Baseball board. It's like -360.
Wow.
It's crazy today.
And the Blue Jays need wins right now. I mean, like the fact that the Mariners have woken up and the Orioles are not far behind, man. They gotta get moving.
They're right there. Oh, wait, Gordon, let me ask you about this. What'd you think of the Blue Jays firing Montoyo?
You go into a season with big expectations. You're just trying to, I mean, like, is it his fault that they have a bad bullpen? No, not really. But like, you just kind of like the Phillies. Like, I didn't really think the Phillies getting rid of Joe Girardi and basically giving the team to like his right-hand man is going to really send some message. Well, there's going to be a total different approach. No, it's going to be the same approach, but sometimes you just try things. Blue Jays had high expectations, have not fired at that level so far. So you just try to save the season at this point. So it's not that surprising.
All right. Now let's hear it. Here we go. I'm calling this one the 5-5-5 parlay because it's a bunch of first 5s, 3 legs. So we got Braves first 5 -0.5. Ian Anderson versus Patrick Corbin. Basically, the Braves are 3rd in the MLB in OPS against lefties. Patrick Corbin's ERA is over 5. Ian Anderson hasn't been great, but I really like the Braves lineup way better than the Nationals lineup. So we'll lock that in for leg 1. Leg 2, Phillies Marlins first 5 under 3.5. Anthony touched on this with Alcantara on the mound. Alcantara also basically when he gets the baseball, he expects to go 9 innings. He's gone 7 innings in 12 straight starts, which is unheard of in today's game. But the Marlins are 29th in OPS and 26th in runs scored over the last 2 weeks. So I really don't see a lot of runs here. And we get the hook at the 3.5. So first 5 under 3.5 on that one. Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Phillies, by the way. He's not terrible. Marlins offense isn't good. Let's lock that in. And then Rockies Pirates, first 5 over 5.5. Sounds like a lot of runs for the first 5 innings, but let's take into account A, we're in Coors Field. B, Herman Marquez, who's going for the Rockies today. He has a 7.17 ERA at home this year. He has the worst rated fastball in the MLB. It just gets smoked. The Pirates are throwing Jose Quintana. He's like the definition of mediocrity. The Rockies have the best home OPS in baseball, and they have the second best OPS against lefties. I'm expecting just runs to be scored in the first 5 of that game. You lock all that in. That's plus 537, 555 deal parlay. Let's go. What we got? I mean, how do we feel, Gordon? How do we feel about even just singularly?
Look, I mean, you're very confident in them. So I mean, that's half the battle, right? Like when you talk to yourself, you're like, "No, look, I'm this. Yeah, sure, the odds are that, but like, no, how can this not work out?" And then sometimes it doesn't work out.
It rarely works out, but we have fun. We have fun with it,
right? Bet with your head, not over it, right?
Right, exactly. You don't put $100 on this. You put like $5.
Right, of course. Of course not. Right.
When
yeah,
that's
what you said, right.
Down to the Royals AA team tonight, we're gonna be like, yeah, that's right on par.
I mean, if you
if that one loses, then you're real. I mean, that's the time you have to step away from the app for a little while, take a little breather, walk outside.
Right.
Maybe get something to cover up a hole after punching it in the wall of your house.
Right. Get another Dan Marino sign. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
something like that.
Players soon. Yep.
Coach Dante and Spotlight Raiders talk. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the show. All right, Gordon, we got one more for you before we get out of here. We ask everybody who comes on the show the final question. You're stranded on a desert island with one athlete, dead or alive. Who are you choosing and why? You got to get off the island, so that's the caveat.
Oh, okay. I got to get off the island.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if I was like stuck on the island and I couldn't leave, it would probably be like Miss Elizabeth from back in the day. She's somewhat sports related. But if I got to get off the island, and then in my eyes, it's like you got to get like the best athlete. Like somebody who could, like Michael Phelps could maybe swim off the island and get you some help. Like if it's just about like I need an athlete, I need to know the proximity of the island to rescue. But if I'm on an island and I got to get help, I guess I got to go best swimmer. I guess you got to go Phelps there, right?
That's a pretty good one. I like that. So because I always was thinking about it in like a resourcefulness aspect, like somebody that can help me build like a boat. Maybe we hunt for food and do all that stuff.
Well, then I was thinking like Bo Jackson, like the first guy I was thinking of, like, he could really, strength, speed, he could do everything. I don't know how Bo is as a swimmer, but you know what I mean? Like if I need to get somebody.
He's a 5-tool player.
Yeah. I mean, you have to assume that he's probably pretty good at it, right? Like if he can do everything else, swimming is he probably can handle that far better than I can. So
exactly.
If I just want to get off the island, I think Phelps is the way. I feel good on Phelps.
All right, I like that one. I like that. Yeah. Also, Bo Jackson is a bow hunter. I don't know if you.
Yeah.
If you
yes, absolutely right. He's a man's man. Come on, he could take care of everything. That's the guy right there. I don't know. I don't really know what he needs me for in that scenario. So I mean, I'm a little worried about that, but
Totally understandable. Listen, Gordon, thank you for joining us today. This was a lot of fun. Before we get out of here, tell everyone, where they can find you.
You can find me 98.7 ESPN radio. I'm on after games or at 10 o'clock ESPN New York. I'm on Saturdays, usually around 3. I bounce around a lot, but 98.7 FM ESPN New York. You can find me on Twitter, find me on TikTok at Old Man Radio, find me on Twitter at Gordon Damer.
Fantastic. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Spotlight Sports Network on YouTube, Parlay Friday on YouTube and Spotify. And of course, head to itsparlayfriday.com for all the new apparel that we're dropping. Have an amazing Friday. And remember, if you want to be a man at night, you got to be a man in the morning. We'll see you next week.